Okay, so let's have our lesson today is we will talk about demonstrative. Okay, demonstrative. Okay. So what are our demonstrative, how the function and how does it works? Okay, so these are our demonstrative. We have our difference of, we have our kore, sore, and are. Then follow with our kono, sono, and our ano. So remember with this one, we have our kono, sono, and ano. It always followed by another noun. Then follow, we have our noun, no, and noun, another one, and dare, no, and no. So let's have this drill first. Okay, yeah, let's have this activity. じゃあ、カイトさんは、かな。Let's have Jerome. Okay. マイクさんは、信じいますか？信じ Okay. So let's see in this sentence or this script, okay, how do they deliver it? Okay.
ここがデパ地下だよ。
いろんな食べ物があっていいよね。
あー、すごい。これは何ですか？
大根の漬物だよ。
食べてみる？
いただきます。ほっ。美味しいです。
これも食べてみる？
Okay, from there. Okay. So let's go first with our vocabs. Okay. ここがデパート。We have our デパ、地下だよね。Okay ね。So let's go with our vocabs. So we have our デパ、地下。かな。デパ、地下, it means basement, no? Basement. Depa, chica. Okay. Then this is actually the plain form. Instead of saying this, we have that. Okay. So that is our plain form of this is that. So for example, you want to say, watashi wa satoshi desu. I can say watashi wa satoshi da. Okay. Then yo, okay, again, this is for our particle to have like, to remember or giving information. And we have here our ironna, okay? Ironna tabemono, it means like here various, okay? Ironna, various, or like ironna, this is a shortcut. Then we have our tabemono, it means food. Then we have at, so this is arimas, this is the te form, okay? But I will discuss to you how to make the sentence in a te form. Same meaning with arimas, with this feeling, with this meaning. And next one is we have iyo, okay? I, it means good, okay? Good. Then yo is giving information and ne is to emphasize. So you're like double information, giving information to emphasize. So that's okay. Then we have our wa, okay? Wa is for our interjection, okay? Interjection of saying, wow. Then we have sugoi. Sugoi means amazing. Then we have here our demonstrative now of our lesson. We have kore, okay? Kore, it means this. Then follow with our nan. Nan, it means what. So like say here, what is this? What is this? Then we have our daikon. We're saying when we say daikon, it means a pickled daikon radish. So it is a radish. So this one is actually daikon no tsukemono. It's a pickle. Tsukemono is pickles. Then daikon is for our radish. So technically we combine it, it's a pickled radish. Tabete miru, okay? So when we say tabete miru, it means, do you want to try to eat? Do you want to try to eat? Then itadakimasu, okay? Like saying here, thank you for something that you receive, okay? Oishi, okay, it means delicious. Then somebody offered him again kaito. Kaito said, "Kore mo tabete miru?" Okay. How about this? Do you want to try as well? So we have also the particle mo. So for our kore, okay, remember, so kore can be put our particle wa, wo, ga, and also mo. So these are the particle that we can add for the kore. So we have our kore wa nan desu ka? We're saying here, what is this? So to ask the name of something that you don't know, or point at the things and ask. So we're using this function kore, sore, and arewa. Okay. This is for something close to you for our kore, while for something close to the person, we're using here for the sore. While for both people or for the person or for the thing, we're using here for the are. So that is the usage of our kore, sore, and are. Sumimasen, kore wa nan desu ka? So this one, he doesn't know this information. Remember, we say here this one, or we use this one is full to point in, okay, for something that you don't know, okay? To point out for something that you don't know. So this is what happened here. Sumimasen, kore wa nan desu ka? Okay, like saying, excuse me, what is this? The item is near to that, okay? So with this one, the girl can say ocha. So she can say, instead of saying kore wa, it will become sore wa ocha desu. Sore wa ocha desu, because you are pointing out to give the information. Or we can say here, excuse me, what is this? It's tea. Okay, how about let's try this one, okay, for the number one, okay? So in this case, this is you, okay? So what are you going to use here? Kore, sore, or are, okay? Let's have Jerome. What are you going to use?
Sore sensei.
Very good, because the item is not here, okay? The item is near to the listener. Hai, yoko dekimashita, okay? So it will become, sore wa nan desu ka? Sore wa nan desu ka? Hai, yoko dekimashita. How about let's have Steve, okay? This is you. What are you going to use? You are pointing this one. What are you going to use belong the three?
Arewa nan desu ka?
Very good. So we have our arewa nan desu ka, because the item is both are from speaker and listener. Hai, yoko dekimashita. Okay, next one. Okay, how about if this in this case now, what will happen to this picture? What are we going to use here? Let's have Emma. Emma, okay. What are we going to use? It will become?
Kore.
Very good. So we have our kore, no? Okay. So that's how if you're holding for the item, we are going to use our, how are we going to say this is pencil? What is pencil?
Kore wa enpitsu.
Right,
Kore
it
wa
become,
enpitsu.
right, it become kore wa enpitsu desu. So you are saying here that this is pencil. Okay, ne? Ito ka na. Kore wa enpitsu desu. Okay, kore wa enpitsu desu. Okay, so remember we are using kore if the item is near to you, while sore is near to the listener. Okay, while we have for our are, it should be both from the speaker and the listener. Okay, so yun ang kanilang impact. Okay, so let's have about, let's change this one now. Ito. Okay. Okay, let's have this one, Joy, in this picture. No? You are the girl, okay. So what are you going to say here? How you will describe what you are holding?
Kore wa enpitsu desu.
Hai, yoko dekimashita, no? So it will become kore wa enpitsu desu. Okay? It will become kore wa enpitsu desu. Okay? So it become, we are saying here now, it become kore wa enpitsu desu. Okay? Because you are holding for the item. Okay? Now let's have a different one here now. Okay. Okay. So in this case now, how you will describe, you will make that in a question, Joy. You want to know what is that? Very good. それは
何ですか?
Very good. それは何ですか? And you want to give an answer. That is a CD. So how are you going to say it?
それは CD です。
Okay, それは CD です。Okay, はい、よくできました。Okay, how about this one? You want to know what is that item? Okay, let's try to answer by Valerie, how you will ask the question.
それは何ですか?
One more. You are the girl, huh?
それは、はい。それは何ですか?
Very good. So we're going to use our それは何ですか? Okay. それは何ですか? So how are we going to answer that? Okay, in that case, それは何ですか? So the answer will that be, for example, ito mate ne. Okay. Okay, how are we going to answer that, Valerie?
Hi.
Answer on the top.
これは鉛筆です。
Is it MP2? It's in katakana.
これはボールペンです。
Hi, this is ball pen. No? これはボールペンです。So it means if the one who asked the question is used by kore, okay, or reverse sore, okay, the other person will use a different demonstrative. So the girl said sore, so you're gonna use instead our kore. Okay. How about in this picture now? How are we going to answer it? How are we going to ask that? You're pointing out for that object. Let's have Jerome, how you will answer. You're pointing this item, so it will become?
あれはカセットテープです。
Okay, or become, our tape is we have tape, but make it in a question first.
あ、
it will become,
あれは何ですか?
Very good. あれは何ですか? Ne? あれは何ですか? Okay, so how are we going to answer for that one? あれは何ですか? We can answer our tape or we have カセット. Okay, カセット. Okay, あれはカセットです。わかりますか, Jerome san? Okay, let's have this one. Okay, Mina, should someone ga arimasu ka? Okay, so let's have a recap on that one. One more. If you use for the kore, okay, so the person B will use sore. But if you use sore, the other person will use kore. Okay, but if both person or the other person use are, it's already far. The other person will say also as well as our are. Okay, are. Ja, Mina, wakarimasu. So like in this case, he's saying here that これは雑誌です. So we're saying here, this is magazine, right? Because it's near to her. Okay. Now, let's take a look. Let's using a particular item. Okay. So he's saying here that this type of computer or this type of magazine. So how are we going to use that? Okay. Ne? How are we going to use that? So we have our これはコンピュータの雑誌です。Okay? これはコンピュータの雑誌です。So we have here our noun. Okay? So let's take a look with the formula. Okay? Noun, no noun. Okay? So we're combining for a two noun. So the first noun that we have here is we have our computer, okay, computer, and zashi, magazine. So this is a computer magazine. Okay. So if we're going to take a look with this formula of like what kind, okay, what kind, we are using our nanno, okay, so how to use that one. それは何の雑誌ですか? What kind of magazine is that one? Okay. So based on the picture that we have here, how are we going to answer it with our formula? Noun, no, noun, des. Okay, so how are we going to answer that? So the answer will become 車の雑誌です。車の雑誌です。So we're saying here, it's a car magazine. So we're connecting two nouns. Earlier, we answered it by コンピュータの雑誌です。But this one now, 車の雑誌です。This one, okay. How are we going to ask what kind of this item? Let's have Jerome.
これは何の新聞ですか?
Very good. Okay. 何の新聞ですか? And answer.
これはいろはの新聞です。
What characters does it show on the newspaper? Is it an English, Tagalog?
日本。
日本語?
これは日本語の新聞です。
はい、よくできました。So, if we're going to take a look with our formula, noun is our 日本語, okay? Then our another noun is our 新聞, no? はい、よくできました、ジェロン。So, if we're going to take a look ね、ちょっと待って。Okay, let's have this one. Okay, so we have 日本語の新聞です。So we're seeing here, this is a Japanese magazine. Okay. Now next, so これは本です。So we're seeing here, this is a book, but we have person's name here. So how are we going to ask who owns this book? Okay, who owns this book? Let's have Sneed sign.
それは誰の本ですか?
But you hold the item. これは
誰の本ですか?
はい、よくできました。Okay, so let's go with that rule with our lesson here. We have our 誰の and follow with our hon, okay, with our noun. So it will become 誰のですか? And if we're going to answer it, we have here これはローランさんの本です。これはローランさんの本です。Okay? So we're saying here that the book belongs to Roland. Okay? How about in this question? Okay, how you will ask who owns this pencil? Let's have Emma.
これは鉛筆、これは誰の鉛筆ですか?
Very good. How about if you want to make it polite instead of dare, it will become
これはどなたの鉛筆ですか?
はい、よくできました。はい。So we have our dare, okay? We have our donata, okay? So we have here our Yamagawa Kyoko, okay? How about if you want to, this pencil belongs to Yamagawa. So how you will answer that? Using our formula earlier. Or you want to say that belongs actually to you, okay? Let's say eto na. Okay. So let's say this pencil belongs to you because you are Yamagawa Kyoko. How you will say, this pencil belongs to me. How you will say that? This pencil belongs to me.
私先生?
Yes.
私は
これは
私の鉛筆です。
はい、よくできました。So we are using now これは私の鉛筆です。Okay? これは私の鉛筆です。Okay? So that's a function of our now and so on and so on. So you can also say in this type of format, こ kore wa watashi no desu. Okay, kore wa watashi no desu, because it's understandable that the pencil belongs to you. Or you can say, kono enpitsu wa watashi no desu. Okay. Remember, our Japanese of the key is kagi. Okay, let's go back with our formula. Okay, we have our dare no. Okay, for our dare no, it means who. Okay, but it become a question of ownership. So how you will say that? Kore wa dare no kagi desu ka? Okay, who owns this key? Wakarimasu ka, Joy-san?
Moichido sensei.
Okay,
Medyo
mochiron. Okay, ja, one more. Kore, it means this. Okay, since this is our topic, we use our particle wa. Then our interrogative of dare, it means who. Then we have our kagi. Kagi means key. So we're saying here that who owns this key? Wakarimasu ka?
Wakarimasu sensei.
Okay, good. So if we're going to take a look, we are able to follow the formula of dare, no? So for example, we can also say we have for our kono, sono, and ano, okay? But this one, if we're going to use kono, sono, and ano, it follows by a noun. So like in this case, kono enpitsu wa watashi no desu, okay? This pencil belongs to me, okay? So if we're going to use our formula of kono, sono, and ano, okay, this follow the formula, there will be always a noun after we use our kono, sono, and ano. But technically, they have the same meaning, okay, once we use that one. Let's have one more. So for example, you want to make this form of question. Kono kagi wa dare no desu ka? Kono kagi wa dare no desu ka? So instead of earlier, kore wa dare no kagi desu ka? We can use our kono kagi wa dare no desu ka? They have the same meaning. Okay? And we are able to follow for that demonstrative that we have. Okay? So let's take a look. If you're going to remember, if we're going to use them, we have our kono, sono, and our ano. Okay, so that is their difference. If we're using for the kono, sono, and ano, there should be or always follow with another noun. If we're going to take use of that rule. So let's have, in this case, same thing that follows for our rule here. So if you use here for our kono, okay, the other person will use sono. Or if the other person use sono, what you're gonna use is kono. Okay? Then if the other person use for the ano, you're gonna use ano also. Okay, that is the usage of our kono, sono, and ano.